Hey everyone, I am going to be making honey butter lemon chicken, and we are going to start with 1 pound of boneless skinless chicken breast, and we just have that cut into bite-sized pieces. This is kind of my version of like honey chicken that you'd get at a Chinese restaurant. So in this bowl we have a 1/2 cup of cornstarch, a 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, and I also added some black garlic powder, which I really love. It's a wonderful complement to most meals. It's a little bit sweeter. It's a fermented garlic, and they just sell it in the McCormick container, but I really enjoy it. So we have all of that in one bowl. So I have both of those 2 garlics in the bowl. All right, so we're gonna add all of that dry stuff directly to our chicken. And just make sure that we get all of that cornstarch out of the bowl. And the cornstarch is gonna kind of form a batter around the chicken, and that's how we're gonna get it, that crisp that we always get at the Chinese restaurant when we have their honey chicken. Next up, we're going to add a 1/4 cup of soy sauce right into the mix here. And we're gonna also add 1 egg. We're gonna go ahead and put that right into the bowl. You could add a few other things here. You could add oyster sauce. I happen to have a shellfish allergy, but we're ready to go now. I'm gonna just take a spoon. I'm gonna slowly mix everything together until it is completely homogenized and all mixed in together. I'll go ahead and speed that up. All right, then we're gonna add in 1/8 cup of flour. And this again is just to kind of help this batter come together. So I'll go ahead and mix that in as well. Now we're gonna just go ahead and cover this, and you can refrigerate it for at least 1 hour, but I went ahead and refrigerated it overnight. So you can go all the way up to 24 hours. All right, so we are here the next day. Our sauce is gonna be starting with some butter in the pan, 2 tablespoons of butter. We're gonna melt that in the pan, and then to that we're gonna add this mixture, which includes 2.5 tablespoons of ketchup, 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of honey, and then we're gonna eventually add a cup of water. And so we're also gonna make some rice, and I just like to show you what I use for my rice. So I have a 1 part rice, 2 parts water, and this is Jasmine rice. And then I use shallots. You can use spring onions, green onions, you can use regular onions, but I had shallots on hand, so that's what I'm gonna be starting with. All right, we are ready to get cooking. I have my butter ready to be melted. And so we're gonna get the sauce started first, because we really wanna make sure that the sauce is ready when the chicken is completely done. I'm gonna speed up this process a little bit and get that butter melted and fully melted in the pan. And then we're gonna just add in that entire mixture that we went through, the water, and then the last thing we add in is the juice of 1/2 of a lemon. So you're gonna get that to a simmer, and we're gonna really let that reduce. We want it to get to that like nice sticky consistency. We're gonna get that, go ahead and get working. And in the meantime, we're gonna get started on the rest of the meal. I'm gonna turn the fryer on. This is peanut oil that I have in here, and I'm gonna get that working. So for the rice, we're gonna start in the pot with just a turn or 2 of olive oil, and I'm gonna add those shallots directly into the pan as well. So we're gonna get the shallots in there. And then once we've got those mixed together, we're gonna put them over a pretty high heat and start to sweat the shallots. Just giving you an update here. We're gonna just keep stirring our sauce and just make sure that it's going. All right, so to the rice, we're gonna add some black pepper. And I think I'm gonna use, I picked out an oak smoked Chardonnay salt. So I'm gonna add some of that salt in as well. And you can see that the shallots are cooking nicely. Once we've got those cooking, we're gonna go ahead and add the rice and the water. And we're gonna let that come to a boil. And when it does, we'll be back. All right, so our chicken is out of the refrigerator now, and I'm just taking a spoon and mixing it around so that it's not clumped together. And if it was a little gloopy, if it had like, it wouldn't stir or wouldn't come apart the way that this is looking, you can add a little bit of water, about a tablespoon at a time, to the consistency that you need. All right, now I'm temping my oil. This oil should not be higher than 325 degrees. So I'm looking to get between 300 and 325. And if it's a little bit over to start, that's fine, because the temperature of the oil will go down once you put the chicken in it. But we're at 315, so we are ready to rock. All right, so our rice has also come to a boil. We're gonna go ahead, you can see that. We're gonna go ahead and cover that with a lid. And then we're going to reduce this to low, and we're going to just set our timer for 15 minutes. Honestly, I've never had my rice come out anything but perfect. So we just set the timer for 15 minutes and we'll have perfect rice. All right, so I'm just going to add the chicken and fry it 1.5 minutes on each side. Flip them, and as you flip them, just separate them as well. They might stick together because of the batter. I had to do this in 2 different batches because of the amount of chicken that we had, but that's totally fine. We're gonna put the second batch in. This turned out so great. It's my first time making this recipe, and it was a real winner. And you can see how quickly it came together, and a lot of ingredients that I already had on hand. I didn't have to buy anything. Okay, so our chicken is all fried. You see how it's nice and crispy. And look at the beautiful shine we got on this sauce, this honey butter lemon sauce. We are literally gonna dump all of the chicken directly into the sauce. And this is not a case where there's gonna be like sauce like left over. The goal is to coat the chicken, and we should have enough sauce to get a nice coating on every single piece of chicken that we have here. So we're gonna get them all into a pot, which was a little tricky. It was a lot of chicken, but turned out really great, and the ratio was perfect. I'm just going to use a spatula and just lift from the bottom and turn so that we get sauce on every piece of chicken, and it gets perfectly coated. But see, we still have that crunch, so we're just adding this kind of like glaze to the crunchiness of the chicken that we just fried. Turned out so good, so easy to do. Now, we'll say if I had on hand sesame seeds, that would be the one thing I probably would have added for a little bit of color and also a little bit of extra crunch. I also might have added some green onions to garnish. I love green onions, but I didn't have any that were, I just didn't have any at all. And as y'all know, when I'm recording this, we are in the midst of social isolation and quarantine, so we didn't want to do that. And so here I'm going to pull my rice off the stove, and I told you 15 minutes. I'm going to just grab a fork and fluff this beauty up, and this is like just the perfect rice, perfect Jasmine rice. Everything turned out great, and it all was ready exactly at the same time. It's fantastic. And there you go. We've got homemade honey lemon chicken, kind of my take on our Chinese food favorite, and hopefully you'll be able to make it at home soon too. Talk to you soon. Bye.